For a great cup of joe, there's one thing you should know. Your morning brew can also be playful. Buff Boy Brewing guys make the temperature rise, and you surely feel naughty when you swallow our coffee. If you want some real heat, give your mouth a fine treat. You will want some more, rest assured. Buff Boy Brewing, you can't get enough of.
It's time for The Scribble, your weekly fix of celebrity chats, bizarre stories in the news, and basic random chatter with best-selling author and syndicated radio host Jeremy Bradley. Make sure your seat is in the upright and locked position and your barf bag is securely in place. Here's Jeremy Bradley.
Hello everybody, Jeremy Bradley here. This is The Scribble. Thanks for tuning in today on SoundCloud and iTunes and at thescribbleshow.com. No celebrity guests today. I have a lot of chatting to do. And there is a lot of stuff going on in the news that I think that everybody's got an opinion on. I thankfully have a platform to go and share that opinion with everybody. The controversy of Oscars so white. We talked about it just briefly last week. And there's been more developments, right? More celebrities are talking about boycotting the awards and speaking out. And it's ironically the African-American ones, because they're in an uproar because they say that none of them were nominated. And then this whole battle with Jada Pinkett Smith, Will Smith, and then Aunt Viv from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. You remember she was, Janet Huber-Witten was Will Smith's aunt on the show. And so they had a falling out, and now she's kind of taking shots at the Smiths for their boycott calls. And, you got everybody from... I don't even know. Just all the legendary actors are now going and saying that they don't want to go. So we're going to chat about that. And also, this whole New Year's resolution thing. You might recall earlier in the month, I gave you some ideas of how you can actually sort of try to keep your New Year's resolution. And that was this whole reward system. So I had a bit of an incident on the treadmill. And I'm going to tell you about that coming up in just a little bit. I'm trying to follow my own advice. I'll be honest. Some mornings I don't want to do 45 minutes on the treadmill. I just don't want to. Then I sit there thinking, wait a second, I'm going to end up sitting on the couch for an hour and watching television anyway. I could be doing sit-ups here. I could be in the other room where there's a television on the treadmill working out. So my fun treadmill story and what happened after that, I'll tell you about that in just a little bit. So we've got a lot to talk about. I would love to hear from you. My email address is live@jbonair.com, live@jbonair.com, or you can tweet us up at The Scribble Show on Twitter. That's at The Scribble Show. And definitely send in your email. I can spend probably about 3 hours some nights writing back and forth to emails. And what's funny is that I will reply to an email, and then I go to the next one, and then I reply to the next one, and then I reply to the next one. And then people are already replying to the ones that I had just sent back. So it's this never-ending conversation of like, okay, wait a second, I've got to scroll back to see what I wrote to that person. What are we chatting about in this email? So I enjoy it. And oftentimes I will do it from the bathtub just because I spend a lot of time there when I'm not forcing myself onto the treadmill. So we've got a good show for you today. Again, thescribbleshow.com. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do, because we'd love having you check in week after week, because this is episode, 48 of The Scribble. All right, so we're going to get into all those hot topics right after this.
Are you tired of commuting to a job that makes someone else rich, working harder than ever, but getting nowhere? Do you hate spending hundreds of dollars every week on daycare? Having someone else raise your children? With our opportunities, you can start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss, work from home, and live a happier life. At Be the Boss Network, you'll find hundreds of work-from-home opportunities that you can literally start today and be earning money as soon as next week. Go to freedom41.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss. Get out of the rat race. Work from home. Go to freedom41.com right now and change your life today. That's freedom, 41.com. Go to freedom41.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You be the boss. Go to freedom41.com.
Jeremy Bradley here, back on The Scribble. Thanks for tuning in. So I had a pretty intense workout today. Now, I bought a treadmill, it was, almost a year and a half ago. And everybody criticized me because they said, you know what, everybody gets a treadmill and nobody ever uses it. It's just going to sit in the corner and you're not going to do it. Well, here's the deal. Originally, I wanted to set it up in the living room, but the thing is too damn big, and so I didn't. And we set it up in the spare bedroom that I have. There's just really, it's the dog kennel. There's nothing else in the room. And so I put it in there, and I figured, you know what? I'm going to motivate myself. And so rather than just a treadmill in an empty room to try to keep me motivated, I got, a big TV on the wall. There's a water cooler in there. There's some weights. There's a whole thing of towels. Like, I went all out. And, and I'm certainly not a bodybuilder by any means. I say the body of a 12-year-old girl. I'm a very, very small person. And so I don't use it in the summer, so when it's nice out, I take the dogs for walks. I don't use the treadmill. We go out throughout the neighborhood, and we run in the park, or we do whatever. So the treadmill was not ever meant to be a spring, summer, early fall sort of a toy. But then come winter, when it's too cold out to go walking or running or whatever it is, I use the treadmill and I blast some music, or I put on the TV or whatever it is. And so, come New Year, everybody, we talked about that a couple weeks ago, everybody's New Year's resolutions to get fit and stay active. Well, here's the deal, is that part of it really is a matter of disciplining yourself. And I mentioned that about how you could keep your New Year's resolution by punishing yourself or taking something away from yourself and then rewarding you by giving it back. So if you are addicted to your cell phone and that's all you use all night, well, then you can take it away and say, you know what, I'm going to use the treadmill for 1 hour, and then I will give myself 30 minutes of Wi-Fi time or an hour of cell phone time, right? And then you've earned it. So it's something to get yourself through. And in all honesty, that is truly what I do. So it'll be a 45-minute run or whatever it is that I have programmed or set for the day. And when you're at not even the halfway mark, I'm standing there going, this just has to be over sometime soon. Come on now, we're not even halfway. I've got to do something. And then I remember, you know what though? I'm going to have a nice snack or something, right? Which it doesn't necessarily defeat the purpose of the workout, because I didn't say it's going to be fatty and greasy and gross, but it might be something that I like, right? A treat for myself. And so that's sort of what keeps me going. And I was doing it this morning, and do you ever just have one of those days where you're like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. So then after about 7 minutes, I actually stopped, and then I said, you know what though, this is the deal, is that you got to do this. You got to keep going at it. And so I said, okay, well, I'm not doing anything. I'm not putting on a television. I am not touching my phone. I am not doing anything, absolutely anything, until I get this run done. Look at this, I'm rhyming now. And that's actually what made me get through the 45-minute run this morning, was I'm not giving myself any privileges today. Nothing. And I should actually give myself homework at that point. I should give myself more work to do. So I finished on the treadmill, and then we had our production meetings and everything for our radio show and our newspaper stuff. And then there was this table at a liquidation store, and somebody had taken a picture of it and sent me an email, because it's actually sort of what I'm looking for my basement. And I said, well, I've got to go and get this thing. Well, I don't have a big enough vehicle, so I had to call my dad. And this is on the subject of workouts, in case you're wondering where I'm going with this. But I said to my dad, who's got a minivan, I said, look, Dad, can you come to this store and help me get this thing to the house? And so he's like, well, how big is it? Like what? So I took a picture of it, emailed it to him, and he's like, well, can you measure it? And I said, well, I didn't go to a store with a tape measure, but I'm sure somebody there can help me. So sure enough, get the measurements of this table. And he's like, oh yeah, that'll fit, no problem. So I actually had to leave, and I was going to meet him at my house. So he went to the store, he went and picked it up. Some guy, an employee, helped him get it into the van. And then he drives to my place. I meet him at my place, and he's like, this thing is heavier than a mother bleeper. And I said, okay, well, I'm not the strongest guy, but, I did my 45-minute workout today. I've got the power. Let's do it. And this thing was the heaviest piece of crap. You know what? I believe the treadmill, when the treadmill was delivered, that was really heavy and hard to put together. So this is probably the second heaviest thing in my house. And so we go to the back door, and it's not fitting through the back. You can get the front legs through, and then even if you angled it and tilted it just right, you're still like an inch from clearing the doorway. And my back door, there's 2 steps that go up to the kitchen, or there's a whole bunch of stairs that go to the basement. So he's like, well, where are you taking this thing? Are we just taking it up the 2 stairs? And I was like, well, it's actually going to go in the basement for right now. And we had to take this whole thing apart, because once it got wedged in the back doorway, like in the landing area, we actually couldn't get it back out. And so it was the funniest thing. Thankfully, it wasn't very cold, but we're taking the legs off of this at least 80-pound table, and the wind is blowing into the house and it's just freezing, and it was actually quite funny. Now, frustrating in the moment because you're trying to get this thing into the basement, and now you've got to get a toolbox and unscrew this and rip this off and break this. He actually broke two parts of there was a back I don't know how it's not a hutch, but there's like a back part to it, which he ended up breaking in the store as him and the guy were moving. I thought, you know what, I didn't even actually care for that part, so it's actually just the table. It's like solid wood, like we're not talking just a cheap little table here. It's very good quality, and I bought it for $30. They were getting rid of it because the store is closing, and they wanted the fixtures out of there, and so it took us a while. It actually took us about almost 45 minutes just to get this thing into my house. Now, another quick story. I know we've got to go for a break, but another quick story, because about a week or so ago, it was actually just after Christmas, I had ordered a desk from Best Buy. And the reason that I did that was because I had bought 2 new computer monitors. And so the desk that I had at home wasn't big enough to support the 2 monitors, because I had just a regular small monitor, and now I've got a larger one and a second one. So it barely fit the 19-inch monitor that I had. Now I've got these 24-inch monitors. So I needed a brand new desk. So isn't that funny? You get a sale after Christmas on cheap monitors, and then you got to go and buy a $600 desk to now accommodate the monitors. That's just how I work, right? So I had actually canceled the order from Best Buy, but they sent it anyway. I canceled before they shipped, but it still came to my house. So I had come home one day, and this giant box was leaning up against the back door. Now, again, this box, it was 136 pounds. They told me how much it weighed. The delivery driver just left it up against the wall of the house and then left. So when I came home, I was like, okay, well, I'll just tip this on its side and then I'll pull it into the house or push it into the house or drag it into the house. Same exact thing happened, but I was on my own. And this wasn't something that was already out of the box that I could just, take apart and throw piece by piece into the basement. And I certainly couldn't leave it outside. 1, because I was returning it, I was getting a refund, and 2, the dogs would piss all over it. But it was just like the biggest struggle. And again, it was a much colder day when it arrived that time. And I've got the door wedged open and I can't move this. I'm sweating bullets. And then I'm getting madder, right? Because then you think I'm going to be the Incredible Hulk and I'm going to get this energy and I'm going to pull this goddamn thing into the house. And it just took all my might. It was the hardest thing. And again, same thing like the workout on the treadmill. You're just like, you know what? I'm giving up. I'm not going to do it. I will go upstairs and leave this door wide open with this thing. It's not even worth the hassle. I'm not trying anymore. I'm going to go have a drink, lay in the bathtub, and then go to bed. So again, that time, I honestly don't remember because you lose all track of time. It feels like it's an hour, but it wasn't that long for me fighting with this box. So what's the moral of the story here is just get really light things in your house, or at least have 2 or 3 people helping you carry it, helping you move it, and certainly don't skip out on that 45-minute treadmill workout. Definitely do it because you need that energy throughout the day to keep it going. And it's just a fun release, too. You know what? If you can sing along to music or watch a TV show, you don't even realize that you're working out. We've got to go for a break. We're back right after this on The Scribble.
If you're diabetic, this message could change your life. Is your blood sugar out of control even when you do all the right stuff? Are you afraid of diabetic blindness and the risk of amputation, as well as all those other side effects? Well, you should be. Is there anything that could help manage your blood sugar? No-betes is a natural supplement that may quickly and dramatically lower your blood sugar.
My name is Bob Corder. I've been using no-betes for about 3.5 to 4 months now. And in the first 3 months, I've actually lowered my blood sugars from 500s down to 139, and then it dropped to 88 to 93.
My name is Kirsten. I'm a type 1 diabetic, and while taking no-betes, my blood sugar levels dropped from 295 to 115 in just 1 day.
The FDA hasn't evaluated these statements, and no-betes isn't intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. But for many, it's helped drop their blood sugar. So if you've been evaluated with high blood sugar, don't delay. Evaluate no-betes now. Call 800-478-9568 and get your free bottle. Just cover shipping and handling. Call 800-478-9568. That's 800-478-9568.
Jeremy Bradley here on The Scribble. Let's talk about this Oscars So White thing for just a second. Is this Hollywood just trying to stir up controversy about itself? Is this celebrities just trying to get publicity and stir up some trouble? Is it sour grapes for the celebrities who were not nominated for an Oscar? What do you think? Now, if you haven't heard this story, and it takes forever to explain. So basically, the Oscar nominations were announced a week and a half or so ago, and the lack of diversity, if I can say it, barely any black people were nominated. Is that the way to say it? You know what? If the Academy is racist and, you know, inappropriate in terms of diversity, well, me saying black people is not anything bad, right? So anyway, it struck a nerve with the African American community. The white folks, they don't seem to mind because they're all nominated getting awards this year. But it turns out that only 2 people, and it's Straight Outta Compton, it has 2 white writers, and they ended up getting nominated. But it's the blackness that's missing, apparently. Now, this was also an issue last year, they say. Now, let's rewind here. Let's break this down bit by bit. Because, to me, if you're nominated for an award, that means that you are the best in that category. So if you edited, if you wrote, if you acted, if you did sound, if you did videography or filmography, whatever you call it, if you did that, you're nominated because you were good at it. Now, we almost need subcategories. Best black male actor, best black female actor, best black sound guy, best... Do you know what I'm saying? The category is the category for the sake of the category. Will Smith is nominated for Will Smith's acting, not for Will Smith's color. Now, Hollywood seems to think, or say anyway, that there's something else going on behind the scenes there. It's not that about, you know, Will Smith is great. There were other people that were better than him. He was the best. It was that it's because he's black. Now, do you know what this reminds me of? And I worked with a woman who was like this before. She was lesbian. Everybody hated her. Everybody was unfair to her because she was gay. And that's what it was. And so that brings up another point. Why don't we have best gay actor in a motion picture? Best things like that, right? You've almost got to now break it down to every single group or culture or gender, whatever it is, just to appease everybody, and you're not going to. So I think this is really, the flare-up has happened because of this whole racial tension thing in the United States. Now, I'm Canadian. I live in Canada, visit the U.S. quite a bit. We do production in California sometimes, but this is just one of those things where, is it really as bad as you're making it out to sound? So Jada Pinkett Smith goes and defends, not necessarily specifically Will Smith, but just go and say, like, you know what, this is unfair, not black people, blah, blah, blah. Will Smith was on Good Morning America a couple of days ago and said the exact same thing. Now they're calling for a boycott of the Oscars, not going to go to it. Well, okay, great. So you don't think, though, that things like this are going to actually make people tune in more? Do they not realize how this whole thing works? Especially because it's so scandalous, telling people to boycott. Now, they could be telling celebrities not to go to it, but at the end of the day, it's the viewers that are going to set the records, and that's really what matters because it's a televised event, right? There would not be the flashy red carpet and all those different arrivals and poses and everything if it wasn't for the viewing public. So that's great. The celebrities can boycott it. Fans are now still going to watch these awards and just go, this is going to be a train wreck. What's going to happen? Who's going to be outspoken? Who's going to say something? Who's going to bash the Academy? Who's going to, wave their racial flag? It really is going to make a lot of people tune in and watch. So now, Aunt Viv from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Janet Hubert Whitten, she had posted a video in response to the Smiths because she worked with Will Smith. Now, on the record, she actually had a falling out with him after Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, so it's not surprising that she's lashing out at him and criticizing. But she makes a good point as well, saying, there's far better things in the world to be concerned about. When I say better, I mean bigger, right? She's saying that there's people dying, and men and women in uniform are getting killed and beheaded, and people are starving, and there's no clean water in many areas, especially in Michigan, as we've been hearing. And so you're worried about not getting recognized for a golden award, and you make millions and millions of dollars a year. But in the grand scheme of things, is it really all that heartbreaking? And are celebrities coming off as selfish? Because when you look at it, there is no other, and I honestly don't know of any other industry that pats itself on the back and rewards itself so much like the entertainment industry. Because you have a season, it's awards show season, but let's say firemen, firefighters. Do they have quickest exit from a burning building? Do they do awards like that? And if they did, they should. Or if they don't, they should. If they do, congratulations to them. But do they do it every month? Do they do it, twice a month, every couple of weeks, like Hollywood does at this time of the year? Do they? No. Do I think that a firefighter is a harder job than an actor? I would think so. I mean, unless you're doing daredevil stunts in your movies and things like that, but you're saving lives as a firefighter. And to me, I would find that more fulfilling than being an actor who's making millions of dollars. A firefighter is doing it to help people. I don't know of many people that are firefighters or policemen or nurses because the money is good. Because you always, and especially teachers as well, you hear people bitching and complaining that the money isn't good. They're doing it to make a difference and to help people or to save lives or to educate and to do whatever. So, again, it does put things into perspective when you look at Hollywood, this uproar that I wasn't nominated for an award, black people aren't getting awards. At the end of the day, you've got black soldiers who are dying. You've got black kids who don't have clean water. You've got black kids who are getting shot by each other. Let's not turn this into a white cop, black kid thing. Not go in that direction. So I think that everyday people, regular people, people listening to this, people in this room with me here right now, us average Joes and Jills, we see it from that point of view. We can take that step back and go, yeah, you know what? Hollywood they're full of themselves as it is, and now you've got this on top of it. Yikes. Would love to hear your thoughts on this, by the way. Feel free to shoot me an email. My address is live@jbonair.com, live, L-I-V-E, @jbonair.com. Tweet us up at The Scribble Show on Twitter. That's at The Scribble Show. And we've got to take another break. Back right after this.
Ever had something to get off your chest but never had the balls to say it? That's a load of crap. Speak Free with JB.com is exactly what you've been waiting for. Your chance to tell it like it is and not care what anybody else thinks. Have your say on issues of the day. Join newspaper and radio columnist Jeremy Bradley as he tells it like it is. Hundreds of thousands of people have stopped by, including some well-known celebrities who have had a chat with JB and speak candidly about what's really going on in the world. You can join them too. Have a rant or a rave. Be brave and head on over to www.speakfreewithjb.com now.
Yes, speakfreewithjb.com. JB here on The Scribble. Thanks for tuning in again today. And, you know, the Speak Free with JB website I started, it was about 11 years ago. Was it about 11 years ago? And I started writing a newspaper column 10 and a half years ago, and then the radio show, Top of the Charts, started 10 years ago. So it's just been a wild ride, 10 years on the radio this spring. So time really does fly when you're having a good time. You know, last weekend was Betty White's 94th birthday, and I was there for her 90th birthday in Hollywood and had a really good time. It was very surreal, and I wasn't expecting to be starstruck, but TV legends were there. You had Carol Burnett and Mary Tyler Moore and Ed Asner and Gavin MacLeod and Vicki Lawrence and Valerie Harper, the cast of Hot in Cleveland. Like, there was a lot of star power in the room, and it was one of those events that, yes, I was there to cover an event, but at the same time, I had to just live in the moment, because Golden Girls was one of my favorite shows when I was growing up. And as a teenager, early 20s, I would watch it. It was twice a day. We had VCRs back in the day, but I would record it when I was at school, watch each episode. I would learn it word for word because I had seen it so many times. And, you know, everybody had said, you know, don't go into this one looking at it as a show. We were doing a live broadcast from the red carpet on the radio. Just have a good time. Just have fun. If you meet her, cool. If you don't, at least you got to see her. And it definitely was. I was very excited. I was nervous, and I had a couple drinks before I went. But it was definitely a moment that, you know, and the story behind it. We've got a few minutes here. The story behind it was, I had wanted to do even just a phone interview with Betty before the NBC televised birthday celebration they were doing. NBC put on this big gala, and they'd said no. So the NBC publicist had said no. Even Betty's publicist had said no. I tried like every roundabout way to even just get her to call in. Like, we're not even talking about an interview where she's got to come into the studio and get hair and makeup and be on TV or anything like that. She could just pick up the phone and call in. So it was no. And I was disappointed. I had said to my brother, like, you know what, yeah, let's go for lunch. My brother had called me, and I said, sure, let's make it happen. Just as I'm about to get ready, I was at work, I'm just about to leave the office, and I get an email from NBC saying, you know what, if you want to come do the red carpet and come to the party. Now, it's not necessarily an interview with Betty. Let's not, you know, mix that up. It's not like a one-on-one interview. It could happen, but that's not what this is. This is just come to the party. And the funny thing was that I had actually planned an event that weekend with my friends and family and coworkers. Now, I had never mixed all of these groups together before, but we were celebrating, I don't even remember now, something with the radio shows, I think, our 200th broadcast or 250th or something. And I got a bunch of people together. My favorite cover band was playing, and I said, this is going to be good. We can dance the night away. Then all of a sudden, I go and get this invite. So I was very quiet when I was out for lunch with my brother, and he noticed that because normally when we do go, we spend about 2.5 hours of sitting and talking. We go to the Pizza Hut buffet. All right, a cheap plug for Pizza Hut. But we spend a lot of time there, but we're not eating the whole time. We're socializing. It's more of a social thing. And so I was being very quiet. He was wondering what was up. And so I couldn't hold it in any longer. So finally I was just like, yeah, so about that party that I had just like arranged with everybody and had everybody agree to come to, I don't think it can happen. And he was just like, what, did something come up? Like, what happened? And I was disappointed because, again, I feel that people are going to be sort of let down. This was my idea to do it, and all of a sudden I'm the one going and canceling it. It was embarrassing to me. The one time I decide to like throw a party and get people together, I bail. So I explained to him like what the deal was. I said, Betty White's birthday, blah, blah, blah. He's like, you know what? This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. People are going to understand. They know that you loved the Golden Girls. They know that you wanted to interview B. Arthur before she passed away and you never got to. Well, Betty's the last surviving Golden Girl now. People will be fine. It's okay. And I was terrified, in all honesty. And then once I let that out, it was like, it's like when I don't know if you're pregnant or if you're coming out as gay, you just feel this like weight lifted off your shoulders. Well, that's exactly what happened with me. After I told them, then I just wouldn't shut up, and I was like, oh my god, I'm going to do this. I'm going to meet this person, and this person's going to be there. And it was quite funny. So. Was it our best broadcast in 10 years? No, I don't think so. Was it a hell of a good time? It was a hell of a good time, let me tell you. So we actually still have all of that online. You can go to live.jbonair.com/betty.html. live.jbonair.com. Scroll all the way to the bottom. You'll see a picture of Betty White. live.jbonair.com. I have another story. I'm just looking to see if we have time. Somebody give me a signal. How much time? 3 minutes. Okay. We're not going to... Okay, we'll do it now. So, when you start a new job, how long until you get comfortable? And what I mean by that is having your cell phone out on your desk, bringing pictures from home, putting maybe a painting that the kids had done, putting it up on the wall of your cubicle or of your office. How long, let's say you start on Monday, do you have all that stuff there on Tuesday? Is your cell phone out on your desk the first day? Or do you take a bit of time and sort of feel it out and go, you know what, I'm new here. I don't want to look like the person who's on their phone all day. So I'll just peek at my cell phone every once in a while. Just peek quickly. Or from the minute that you start, is it on your desk right there? Okay? So I had an email from somebody who said, you know what, I'm sick of my coworkers who have their phone out on their desk all the time. If we're being paid to work and do a job aside that's not on your cell phone, that has nothing to do with your phone, why do people have it out there spending all this time on it and socializing with other people? Is it slowing down productivity? Is it not? Well, I own a company, and so for me, it's kind of like, you know what, if the work is getting done, then fine. You're certainly not going to be having your phone out when I'm leading a meeting and we're having a production discussion and I'm in charge. But if it pertains to your work, because a lot of, we've got producers and people, their work email goes to their phone, so I don't know if it's personal stuff or not. But at the end of the day, if it's getting in the way and it's distracting, then, put it away, don't have it out. But here's the deal now with employees. So you really can't win. Because if you ban phones and you say you can't have your phone out, what's going to happen is people are going to go for 15,000 washroom breaks in a day. Right? Because they can't have their phone out. They're going to go every 45 minutes to the bathroom just to check their phone and text and do whatever it is. So at the same time, you're now losing time because they're getting up and leaving the room and going somewhere else to check their phone, whereas they would only be taking the 30 seconds to send that text if they were allowed to from their desk. Right? I see it from a different point of view because I'm a business owner and it's my money and I don't want to waste it while you're sitting there texting people. But at the end of the day, if that 30-second text that you're sending now at your seat is going to alleviate you leaving your desk for 4 minutes and not working, then which is the better deal for me? So, I don't know. Now, again, I work in a media company here, so we have people on their phones and are searching things and emailing us back and forth and texting stuff, so it's a little bit different in our case. But tell me about where you work. live@jbonair.com is my email address. live@jbonair.com. Tweet us up at The Scribble Show. And you know what? Here's Larson to tell you a little bit more about Twitter.
We hear you chirping. Get scribbling. Tweet up the Scribble at The Scribble Show. Join the discussion with Jeremy Bradley. It's all going down right now on Twitter at The Scribble Show and at thescribbleshow.com.
Thank you very much, Larson. Week 48 of The Scribble is almost done. Thanks again to everybody who's tuned in, who sends your emails, who subscribes, who participates in our discussions. Would love to hear from you again. Live at jbonair.com is the email address. You know what? The big draw when we started doing this podcast was we'd have celebrity guest after celebrity guest after celebrity guest, but I enjoy just sort of going on these rants and then hearing what you have to say in return. I love it. And I love it even more when you agree with me. I love it even more when you share the same opinion that I do. If you don't, I'm probably not going to respond. No, I'm just kidding. You know what? That's the thing. We're all entitled to our own opinions, and we're able to disagree with each other, and nobody's right or wrong because of that. My name is Jeremy Bradley. This is The Scribble. I will talk to you same time, same place next week. Bye-bye, everybody.
Want more Scribble? Check out thescribbleshow.com for past shows, celebrity interviews, cheapskate tips, and more. That's at thescribbleshow.com and on Twitter at The Scribble Show. The Scribble is a speak-free media presentation.
If you want some real heat,